Situation Report, Heeresgruppe Ost, April 1941. 9th Army, General von Manstein. Ostwall has been breached in 3 sectors between Chernihiv and Belgorod. After artillery barrages of never-before-seen intensity that churned up minefields, destroyed barbed wire and stunned defenders in their bunkers, Russian troops have followed up with massed assaults, taking Chernihiv and the whole fortification line up to Sumny. Counterattack by German Sturmdivision has been repelled with air support, minor losses reported. Trenches west of Luhansk are under increased pressure as well, and rear supply lines are at risk of a breakout from Crimea if Foreign Legion troops prove unreliable. Ukrainian commanders have been informed that we will abandon the remains of the Ostwall, which is at this point at risk of being bypassed, and perform an orderly retreat to the Manstein line from Kiev to Odessa. Combat engineers are still busy strengthening positions. The Dnipro River should stop the Russians. Urgent request for Luftwaffe to begin sending assets. Situation Report, German East Asia, April 1941. 12th Army, General Paulus. Logistics Department has fixed railway lines and cut new truck path through the jungle in the Saigon combat zone, enabling assault divisions to be provisioned. Saigon taken block by block against stubborn resistance of defenders. Indochina insurrection suppressed, rebel leaders have fled or been arrested. Pacification efforts continue. Frontline troops have advanced into Siam, taking port facilities in Kampot and advancing to Battambang before encountering organized enemy resistance. We will secure logistics, eliminate pockets of resistance and move towards Bangkok. Expecting fall of Siam and securing the western flank within the next month. Threat from Imperial Japanese Navy considerable. Situation Report, Heeresgruppe West, April 1941. 2nd Army, General von Kluge. Unternehmen Wiesel North, Panzer Group, has broken through gap in French defenses south of Charleroi and exploited breach to town of Ternier. Tanks have stopped roughly 100 kilometers from Paris, will reorient north towards Amiens and crush enemy positions along the line between Panzers and 3rd Army's veteran Sturmgruppen. Unternehmen Wiesel South. Panzer Spearhead has broken through stiff French defenses in the forests south of Besançon. French defenses across the Doubs River and lack of Sturmdivision support means we will take targets of opportunity, but not advance much further at this stage. Just binding troops. Luftwaffe rules the skies, and Dornier wings rain death and destruction on any French concentration. Strategic Directive, Feldmarschall von Rundstedt, Oberste Heeresleitung. Victory in the air over France and at sea over Britain by glorious Luftwaffe and Kaiserliche Marine has secured Irish coast and allowed army to go on the offensive. French invasion of Spain binds valuable troops, and so far no participation of USAS beyond military advisors. Conduct occupation of France and liberation of Spain with haste, then pivot to Ostfront. Luftwaffe to begin diverting fighter assets east to start countering Russian aerial supremacy. Heeresgruppe Ost falling back to von Manstein line, shorten the lines. The losses in the Second Weltkrieg are once again horrific. Especially on the Eastern Front, the Ukrainian attacks against Russian defensive lines have been very, very costly in terms of manpower. But also the German attack into France has been met with stiff resistance. Now, that said, we have made some inroads into France, and we do need to consolidate these positions, especially in the face of diminishing supply. So, with the northern part of Operation Wiesel, we are going to actually assault Reims first, in order to secure the forward supply position, which will be the springboard for the attack towards Paris and potentially towards Dunkirk. So that's the first one before the tanks actually run out of steam here. We've got some assault infantry divisions ready as well, so we can use the surrounding infantry divisions to support this attack. And we'll launch the first assault towards the rearwards railway line, and then the second attack from the forward positions with the tanks against Reims itself. We are leaving some troops behind to potentially defend against French-British counterattacks. This territory is mostly held by British infantry, so they are relatively good at what they're doing, but they will come under the combined weight of the German army and air force. We are still fighting it out with the enemy. They have brought fighters back, and they are increasing the number of support planes now that they have stopped any kind of attacks inside Germany. So the air battle is not yet won. However, we are shooting down a rather large number of enemy planes, and I've already started diverting some fighter wings to the Eastern Front, where they can start locally challenging the Russians. In Indochina, we have some encirclements to clear out. However, I think we can also divert some troops to just expand the territory and forward the lines a little bit, since we're here. But we do have to ensure that the encircled divisions here are going to be eliminated. So let's begin the attacks. So these divisions are just freshly here, so not much we can do just yet. But we will start shrinking this pocket and destroy these 3 encircled Siamese divisions. We can push further, but I want to clear out the rear first, just to make sure that happens. And that we don't get any surprises in the rear. Naval battle in the Channel. This was not the one in the Channel. This is the one in the Channel. It's still ongoing. We are retreating from the home fleet, challenging our fleet at the moment. Both Schlachtgeschwader are not striking at this point because they're both in need of repairs. So that's something we'll need to wait. In the south, it would be good to be able to assault the positions in Burgundy. Unfortunately, the tank divisions are not going to be able to do that because they would have to cross the river here, just in order to secure supply from Mulhouse. That would actually be beneficial. So the question remains, what are we going to do in the south, and how are we going to consolidate this position? I mean, we can attempt, but this would be a cross-river attack, so securing the southern front here might be the better approach. And yes, German bombing is excessive from the air, as we have just seen against these rear French lines. This would be the heavy bombers that are methodically disassembling the southern French positions. So launching an attack without the support of assault infantry and across river lines is less than desirable. So probably a good decision then would be to pull tanks back towards Belfort and launch the assault from there, just to extend our supply in the area. So bypassing it has forced the French to weaken their positions, and now the tanks can pull back across the area they've just covered. This is going to be held by infantry, and then they will launch an assault on not across the river, on the fortified positions in Burgundy. Here we do have railway artillery support, so we're pulling that forward to Mulhouse, and that'll allow us to deal with these fortifications efficiently. In Norway, the troops are making their way to the front line, and we are just going to start pushing towards Bordeaux. And we're going to just include the other infantry here as well. The Norwegians should be capitulating soon. They're on the retreat. They have pulled in Mexican reinforcements out of Narvik, but this is just a matter of time. Before we reach Narvik. The big question is if the supply is going to last, because we are obviously very much at the edge of our lines here. We're still getting supplied from the hub in Norrland, but that is temporary. So the question is, can we reach Narvik before supply runs out, or are the Norwegians going to capitulate before that happens? And Norway is not yet quite done, so I assume we might have to push all the way towards Narvik. So let's just make sure we're keeping the momentum going and give the troops orders to make their way all the way to Narvik. And we've got some reserves coming in from the rear, so in case we can pull some troops back and make that happen if necessary. All right, in the Indochina position, We're defending against counterattacks. We're clearing the encircled troops in the jungle here to make sure, and we can support that from the north, to make sure that our supply can flow and that we can then move further forward. The port in Kampol is slightly overloaded because right now it just gets river supply, but Battambang is obviously not connected. So that, however, the push north, hopefully this will clear the supply somewhat. The push north should then connect the lines and encircle the Siamese troops in the jungle in the central area, and that should do an end to that. All right, let's see what our move is going to be here. I do need some infantry on just on the defense, so I'm just going to have 3 divisions positioned here while the tanks are pulling back. And the attack on Rhin is running positively. The tanks are somewhat out of supply, but the British defenders have no chance under the combined ground-air attack. Instant counter-attack against Rhin, but once we have taken the railway lines north, the tanks just have to hold on until the railway lines are captured, and then we can supply the area. There we go. So now we just have to wait for the supply in Rhin to be provisioned. Railway lines need to be 10 days estimated by the combat engineers to get the railway lines back to operationally. So now we can we've got infantry here, so we'll pull the tanks towards the assault towards Dunkirk. Isolate Paris in the north, make sure that the French troops cannot reinforce it. So let's shorten the lines there. Okay, Second Army, Operation Wiesel, Section Nord is coming in to prepare for the attack. We have, at the loss of 3 destroyers, actually sunk 8 British destroyers and a submarine, and the rest of the Kriegsmarine has successfully extracted itself. So I would say, all in all, that is a victory. And we've still got who is this? The Lübeck, still hunting some submarines, but right now the Schlachtgeschwader are both in repairs. So we'll cede the channel to the British for the time being. Non-aggression pact from the Trans-Amur Republic. The Trans-Amur Republic is in the Far East, and they are being invaded by Russia at the moment. They have friendly relations with the Empire of Japan. Japan has military access to the Trans-Amur Republic. So I am not going to sign a non-aggression pact with them just yet, because they might be fighting on the side of the Japanese Empire, and as such might actually be enemies at this stage. And we have expanded our lines northwards. So at this stage, we'll just consolidate the lines here and ensure that we run the cleanup operations first. More interestingly, however, the French situation. Okay, tanks are moving into position for an attack, which leaves us with the southern situation, where we are now launching an assault. Unfortunately, this is all river crossings. I thought we could get away from Belfort without having to cross the river. So in that case, let's find a different sector from which we can attack. It looks like the Belfort sector is relatively well defended, and there is not an awful lot we can do to crack this position, really. Supply, if we're not pushing the tanks in, is relatively stable, so we will have to find a different sector where we can attack into, and this is all across rivers into fortified positions. It'll really be nicer to break out, but unfortunately Besançon has the defenders on the wrong side of the river. So once again, the marine divisions would have been really useful, which probably makes it a good moment to start changing these divisions, because right now They are not particularly useful, the Marinesturmdivision, and we really need somebody to assist with river crossings. Now, ideally, I would love to have the Landwasserschlepper ready. That would take still 40 days, and this is only the infantry fighting vehicle. So when it comes to actual heavyweight combat, we still have a little bit more to do. We've got the amphibious tank chassis and the amphibious drive, both to research. So heavy river crossing equipment is not going to be available anytime soon, which means we probably can spend some army experience on making the Marines a little bit more effective. So because right now they are not. This is going to be expensive, but they are going to need an engineer company anyway, because the attack and movement bonuses are just the best. They do need. They are going to get a field hospital, and they definitely need a couple more Marine battalions in here. Let's have a quick look at the situation that we're literally just designing them for before we're going any further. So the attacks that we're trying to do are into Besançon, which is just the plains with combat with 70. The forest combat with 60 would be the other river crossing that we're trying to enact here. So probably something like a 30 width would be a decent middle ground. And let's throw a bit more artillery in here, definitely. So we could do it something like 3 artillery. They do need, and I already don't have enough army experience to do that. But let's see how much we would need. They would need support anti-air, and they probably flame tanks, and let's say motorized recon, just for movement. So that would be 100. Yeah, design is too expensive. 100 experience. That's a doctrine. So this is sort of could make it 29, something like that. That would sort of work, but. Yeah, we don't have the 100 army experience. So for now, we will. I think what we'll actually do is instead of fighting these grueling positions here in the south, since we are actually making significant progress in the north, I am just going to get the rest of the. I'm going to remove the southern flank of Operation Wiesel. We are going to send them north for the time being, because exploiting the positions in the south here near Besançon, given that we have actually French tanks in the area, is not really the best use. We don't get the supply out through Mulhouse, so the very thin gap here. It is overlooked by French artillery positions, so there's really not an awful lot we can gain here. So instead, we'll send them north. Put the Schwerpunkt at the northern leg of Operation Wiesel and see that we clear the road towards Paris with increased armored divisions. So tank divisions have to actually move to the new front lines. Where's the third? There, you also need to move over here, please. And then we will launch the next attack into Picardy as planned. How about the Norwegian situation? We are making our way through. Yeah, the Norwegians are completely on the back leg, and we are pushing north towards Narvik continuously. And in Indochina, we are clearing out the positions there slowly. So these troops need to move south. Afterwards. All right, in Germany. The Reichstag elections have been delayed. Elections to the Reichstag would normally be held today. However, Germany is currently embroiled in a war that will determine its future and the future of Europe as a whole. No distractions from the war. The Reichstag has approved a 1-year delay to the elections, which will be renewed once per year until we wage the war to its glorious conclusion. Good. Yes. I mean, we probably would have a comfortable majority, but we may as well not bother at this point, because right now any kind of interference is bad interference. Lacking preparedness is still present, but I assume it'll slowly tick down. So let's focus once again at the French situation and get all the tanks in. By the way, somebody commented that the motorized divisions are poor. These divisions actually are outdated. We do not want to maintain these divisions. I will at some point convert that into a mechanized division. We just don't have, I think we don't have the stockpile for that just yet. Yeah, not quite yet. But what we can do is convert the Second Army's remaining tank divisions. How many are there? That would be 3. Yeah, these 3 divisions, we can convert them. I can convert them into the better one, which needs 720, so only 2 of them potentially. Yep, that is doable. So we're going to deliver mechanized equipment to the front lines now. Half tracks are on the ground, which gives them significantly more firepower. All right, the tanks are making their way into position, and once they are there we go. The French are. Is that the French? No, that is actually, yes, it's the 22nd French Infantry Division. So we'll just wait for the assault to end there and to be defeated, and then we will begin the next wave of assaults. So we've got the 6th Panzer and the 1st Panzer, and we've got the 5th Panzer Division. They will lead the charge into Picardy, and we can support that from assault infantry who is present. Currently the motorized divisions are just defending any kinds of breakthroughs. So once they have made their way through there, they are currently engaged, and they are not the ones who are they're not the ones who are in need of new equipment. So this is all good. How is that looking? We are having a counterattack running, and we're running a little low on supply against these French defenders, but I will let this run. I think the tanks can make their way through. We've got the 4th Panzer Division coming in to reinforce, and we have an opportunity anywhere. I don't want to stretch the lines any further right now, but given that Rhin is under our control and the railways are a week away from being restored, we'll defend against French counterattacks and start slowly moving into Picardy. And I think it was a good decision to move the southern leg of the 2nd Panzer into the theater, because that really focuses our armored spearhead onto breaking through the remaining French-British defenders. Right now it's again the British are holding the lines here, and this is just a forested area, but how is the Luftwaffe looking? We have some enemy fighters up in the air. I'm not sure why. We have a comfortable majority in fighters in the air. Our bombers are getting through. However, the enemy is throwing all available fighters in. We've got probably most of the remaining British-French combined air force in the area, but they just don't stand a chance against the majority of it being modern Focke-Wulfs, with some Bf-109s still in the mix. Given that the strike force of the German Navy are currently not operating in the English Channel, convoy losses once again start mounting, and we are still having to send convoys around the Horn of Africa. So I think helping the Ottomans with repairing the Suez Canal is a relatively high priority. So we're going to spend some political power to assist in that endeavor. And then we're getting back to France, where the battle for Picardy is raging, and I think it is mostly being decided from the air. The tanks on the ground are suffering somewhat from the terrain, because again it's a very forested area, it's not an ideal terrain, but counterattacks are defeated rapidly, and it looks like the British defenders and French defenders are falling back. Semi-armor piercing shells are done, so let's have a quick look. I think what I wanted to do next was to improve the field hospitals, yes, because that reduces the experience loss on the all-important heavy units and experienced units. So I very much want to minimize that. And we have the Germania Werft with a new, which we were using for Germania was fleet escort destroyers. So I think we're getting relatively close to being here almost finished with the right branch. I think it's just this is just production output. Yes, we don't need to update anything because it's just production output. Okay, so another 5% reduction of time, and Dornier is finished, which we were using for the Heinkels, I believe. Not the Heinkels anymore, but for the medium bombers. We have naval attack, not particularly keen on that, but we're done with the right branch here. So we were going down the left branch. So production efficiency gain, efficiency cap. So multi-role transports, this would just be for transport planes. Refined engines, max speed 5%. Or air defense 5% and production efficiency, but we do kind of need this to unlock more. So let's go here, and I'll do this by hand, otherwise it'll get really confusing. So this would be Dornier, and let me quickly upgrade the two templates so I can upgrade the numbers as well. Because if you're not familiar, if you forgot about the naming scheme or not familiar with it, actual changes to the template tick up the letter, and design template upgrades tick up the number in the minor number afterwards. And we have replaced the production lines, so all is well. All right, battle for Picardy still going on. The Syndicalists are still throwing reinforcements into the mix, but they get pummeled from the air, and they just don't have anything to deal with the tank divisions at this point. Well, they have a good amount of firepower. Most of it is geared towards infantry attacks, but they have not expected the more mobile warfare of modern armies here. So that means we can now shorten the lines, I think, once more, and we have a potential. We can do a potential stretch towards Amiens and encircle the whole French-British northern flank towards Dunkirk. Do we have the supply for that? Reims is not yet connected. It's going to be 3 more days. Amiens itself is a supply hub, but we won't have a railway connection. We could swing south to secure the railway lines towards Amiens, but it's basically 2 provinces. I think we can push that with the, especially now that we're starting to get the reinforcements from the rest of the second coming in. What we can do is launch a simultaneous attack. I'm not sure where the rest of the tanks are. They're still coming in. We could launch a simultaneous attack on the 55th and the 55th Infantry division that is holding the south of Amiens, and to secure the railway line. I think that is a railway connection. So let's do that. Let's launch this attack, and the tanks will push forward directly towards Amiens, and we will see if we can. With some infantry support. 4th Panzer is leading the charge here, together with the 913th Infantry Division and their flame tanks. I think they will make relatively short work of the French there, and that way we'll try to push through Amiens, cut off the French defenders in the north, and I think we can. Do we still have some troops in Belgium? We still have a few troops in Belgium. I don't necessarily want to waste them on pinning attacks, but pinning the defenders there. To prevent them. Are they moving south? They might be moving south, actually. That's fine. We'll push along the river south towards on the southern bank of the river towards the sea, and try to encircle the French near Dunkirk. and that hopefully will cause some significant French losses. In Indochina, we have secured the rear of Battambang, and we can, I think, at this point, launch the first operations to secure the to collapse the gaps here and secure the rest of the area. So we'll expand the territory a little bit to stretch out the defenders, but other than that, I think with what we've got available, we'll send the assault infantry towards Battambang, and then we will start moving north. And in the same time, we've got more troops coming in the northern flank as well, and we'll already begin the encirclement and destruction of the Siamese army here. Back to France, where we are in a fierce battle for Amiens. It looks like the defenders they're rushing defenders into Amiens and running consistent counterattacks against the tank divisions, trying to push them back. And that said, these are going to be expensive. They will have expensive losses, and we are not going to be stopped. I think the tanks have broken through. French defenders are trying to cross from the north of the rivers, but I think the tanks can beat them to it. Yes, tanks have entered Amiens. Immediate French counterattacks, and we'll get the infantry to follow up. Once it is ready, we'll shrink the operational area again for the second. It'll be an armored spearhead, really. So from here on out, we'll take the railway south of Amiens. We'll just have to defend the instant French counterattack, but I think the tanks can dig in here and hold on against the counterattack. We'll send some infantry in as well, and we've got fresh tank divisions here coming in too. So we'll send everything to Amiens. How's the supply situation? Reims has been taken. Supply's been connected, but the lines are a little overloaded now. But it'll get better because we have taken Amiens. We are securing the railways south of there, and that means once we are in position here, we do need to push forward towards the coast. So once the counterattack's defeated, the tanks will immediately follow up. We've already got infantry moving into place, and we've got already infantry moving into place to assist with the defense. And I think we are at this stage probably... No, I don't want to exhaust the elite divisions in the north. Okay, immediate follow-up on the exhausted troops. The tanks keep rushing forward, and we have secured the south flank as well. So the lines south of Amiens have been taken. That means for the first time in the Second Weltkrieg, German troops are now standing at the borders of Paris. And now that the railway lines have been somewhat secured, we can probably start pulling the railway guns forward. Let's see, we can get all the way over here already, and they can assist with the heavy fighting. But the most critical point right now is to ensure that the French don't get to defend. So we will see. We're moving all mobile assets into the area, and assisting with the assault. Improved air launch torpedoes and excavation tech finished. We'll deal with that in a second. We'll launch a diversionary infantry attack southwards. How many tanks can we actually get? 3 tank divisions. So the last one can assist with the attack south. 3 tank divisions are running the assault on the last defensive line before the ocean, and if we can manage to take them, they have the port of Calais, so they can always retreat from there. But if we can take that position, we can consolidate the supply situation around Amiens, and that'll relieve Reims a little bit. And then from here on out, collapse the French pocket from the north, and that would be a major defeat for the French. But first, let's get to some more administrative matters. We have successfully made resistance contacts in Russia. Despite some trouble with finding the drop zone in the dark, the team landed safely, has made contact with several resistance units and instructed them in radio technique, leaving radio operator with each one. And we've seen this before, so close that. Which means we should now be, once we have the respective intel networks in Russia, we should now be ready to start some clandestine operations to make their lives significantly harder. We can start sabotaging some of the industry. So let's blow up some Russian factories. Who do we have in the area? We have Josef Schmidt currently, as well as Hermann Giskus, and we've got 2 free agents from the operation that is completed. So let's blow up some of their factories. And that means we're sending Giskus, as well as, who else do we have? Kurt Weiss and Agent Skarbek. Christina Skarbek and Kurt Weiss. It is still considered risky. So is there any upgrade that we can do to improve our chances on sabotage? Yes. So we probably want to do that first. We'll just prepare it, but we won't commence it yet. We'll just get it ready. So we're preparing for an operation there. We have a couple of things that have completed industry-wise. Excavation 3 has completed, which means we might have some excess here in trade. Yes, we can probably reduce trade with the Netherlands. This is Germany, East Asia as well, and it's the same thing. Okay, so it has netted us a little bit of breathing space, and we have a trade on Flugzeugbau Friedrichshafen. That was for naval, because we are almost in April and we're almost getting the carriers ready for the next strike. So what can we improve? Reliable air defense, naval bombers, air defense, speed or range. Not that important, honestly. I'm not actually entirely certain. I think agility is an important stat for naval strikes, but I might be mistaken there. Ground attack also not that important. We'll go down air-cooled engines. I don't think it matters vastly which one we're doing, and I think I'll rather take a doctrine than upgrade these just yet. Also, we've got a lot of Navy experience, so let's update our naval doctrines for now. We can improve. We can improve the carriers, given that we are almost having them almost ready, or we can start going down the submarine operations. Yeah, I think submarine operations are more vital right now. And on the air side, we can get another air doctrine. Is there anything important? Strategic bombing plus 30%. Yeesh. Yeah, that'd be nice. This is interception detection. I think 30% strategic bombing is quite heavyweight, so let's unlock that as well. And we've got research to do, and I've got something else to fix that I actually missed earlier. So let's do that. We can get advanced fire control systems. We can get improved radars. It's a lot of interesting tech here. We still have to do construction 4, which is kind of overdue at this stage. The synthetic refineries might at some point be interesting as well, but I think for now I'm actually quite okay with that. How is the artillery looking? Yeah, we're actually behind here as well. Infantry tech, not yet. Here we are running a little behind on some of the logistics companies. Would be interesting for the tank divisions. Potentially, that might also be something we need at some point. But I think I'm going to go down the amphibious tank route now. and we're going to be keeping focusing on Henschel. We have another slot ready, and I am thinking no, we'll stick with mediums. I think for this air. Do we have anything important to do on air? This is still ahead of time. Armor-piercing bomb locks, heavy bomb locks. There's still a couple of things that we need to do here, but I think. Do we need, a better depth charges. I don't want to spend 50 naval XP to do that. Just Blumenvoss research that. Okay. So what I actually missed with the Zerstörer 1941, I missed on putting depth charges here. I was planning to put the depth charges on it. But I completely forgot it because it does have sonar and active sonar, and it does not actually have any. It only has 1 point of attack. So destroyers by default have attack against submarines, but it might be an option to put depth charges on this still to improve that. Since it does have the active sonar. It does have some attack by default against submarines, but it's not great. Now, these are fleet escort destroyers. More important are actually the V-class. Where are they? These. So if we were to recommission these actually have some anti-submarine capability. So getting these into a better shape for the more effective convoy escorts would be a task for the future. Okay, quick review. Since there is anything major right now, it's just more aerial battles. We have managed to sink French submarine and a British destroyer, but we've also taken 21 convoy losses against that group. Yeah, we definitely need the Schlachtgeschwader back in operations. Second, right now, has Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, von der Tann, 3 battleships. And how long until the rest of them is in operations? Let's have a look, because the convoy losses again are quite drastic here. This is from the Westfalen is from the first. This is all from the first. Tirpitz is almost a month out, and the Kurfürst is 18 days out as well, and the Elsass isn't even in the queue yet. So this is still going to take some time, but I think the second with 3 battleships, we've got 2 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, and 15 screens. That can start potentially. I think we can start taking on elements of the home fleet with that. We only have the Admiral Werner in the first, so the first is not quite ready. But I'm going to put the second Schlachtgeschwader back on strike force to assist in the channel. Where are they currently stationed? Second Schlachtgeschwader is stationed in the Netherlands. Actually, no, we stationed them in Norway. Let's get them back into the Netherlands. Honestly, let's get them back to Belgium. Actually, let's get them into Flanders so they can take on the channel for any kind of operations and assist there. How's the air situation happening over the English Channel? We have, with the heavy fighters concentrating on the English Channel, shot down most of the active enemy air. They're still reinforced. They're still increasing the numbers from over France. So that battle over France is not won just yet. We have. Why are we having fighters active over Lower Germany? Whose fighters? The Austrians. Okay, the Austrians are fighting there. If they would like, that is their prerogative. And we are actually bombing the French industry in southern France quite a bit. So that is also important and good. The French are still making progress in Spain. I think they might be increasingly moving troops towards the Western Front. The Bulgarians are making progress in Greece quite significantly. The Georgians have gotten themselves encircled in grueling fights with the Russians. We are not getting involved in that just now. We're just holding the line here for now. We are actually occupying some Russian territory. And the Eastern Front, the Eastern Front has collapsed after multiple breakthroughs along the lines, especially in the East. The Russians have committed a fair amount of divisions. What is this? 18 divisions. So the whole field army concentrated on this area alone. So we had to fall back from the Ostwall, and we've retreated, or we are retreating towards, we're conducting a fighting retreat towards the defensive line, the von Manstein line between Kiev and Kherson. And once actually we can start moving the defenders off the Crimea position, which is going to become untenable. So because it is costing us a lot to hold this position. Instead, we will probably be reinforcing. I would almost say we're reinforcing for now the forward salient near Sychyslav here. So let's move the troops out, and in Asia, in Indonesia, I think we are. Okay, we're going to have to stop for now here. We have shortened the lines here, I believe. So how's the supply situation? We'll try to clear out a bit more supply from the north, but I think the next goal should be an assault on Korat. So let's see if the available troops are enough to take that position. That would deprive them of supply on the whole northern front and consolidate gains in the south. We will probably need. We've got 2 assault divisions here, and there's no need for them to go anywhere there. Just push them out and shorten the lines, capture the railways, and ensure that we have supply in the area. All right, so back to France, where we have successfully taken the coast. We have reached the English Channel, which means that Paris is now in a direct line of fire of the Second Army's tank divisions, and the French are now encircled. Now, can we? This is going to be a cross-river attack. Can we launch a simultaneous assault on Calais? And I'm going to get some reinforcements in there actually, and try to push the French away across the river here, because these divisions, all of these divisions, are relatively weak. So we will see if we can. Push the weakened French divisions across the river and then attack Calais from 2 sides. And we will see if we take Calais, that'll remove any kind of possibility for the British to fall back from Calais to Dover, and that'll generally cut also their supply and everything else. All right. However, we have an ongoing naval engagement, and that is the strike force. So we are at this point just hunting enemy submarines, trying to protect the Irish convoys. And Ireland wants to send. No, please don't send divisions. You need to defend your homelands, because right now we're still fighting the British. Given that the second strike is out again, we can send the patrols back and see if we can spot enemy shipping to engage. All right, and we are going to immediately assault Calais from the south. The tanks have made their way across the river, which means Calais is now getting attacked from 2 sides. Calais should fall, and then from there on we will clear out the encircled French and British troops. The British have no way of getting out of there, and some Mexicans got caught up in the fray as well. All in all, we are talking about rough estimate 4, 8, 10, 14, 17, 20, Yeah, roughly a field army that has been caught north of, that has been encircled from the tank rush under von Kluge's armored divisions that have broken through French lines much faster than anybody expected, cut them off at Calais, and we will now encircle and force a surrender of the French northern group, which is going to be a significant weakening factor. And then after that, the tanks will pivot south, take Paris, and we will see how far France is actually. The war support is still holding up, but we'll see how far they are towards capitulation, and if we have to go all the way. The Commune of France is still very much intact. We'll see what they do once Paris falls, but I'm assuming this is going to be a long war where we are going to have to run a major campaign to clear out France, and not just take Paris and then force a capitulation on them. In the north, troops are exhausted, but so are the defenders. So divisions are moving onto Narvik, pushing the defenders ahead of them. So far, the supply situation isn't great, and troops are starving in the still icy north. But they just have to soldier on and make their way to Narvik, because right now we don't have the naval force to potentially launch an invasion. We'll see if we can take Narvik from land. If it turns out that it's not possible, then we will fall back and resupply and find out a better way of doing it. One thing we can do is to create we've got a couple of transport planes, Junkers 52s, and they can run air supply. They can run air supply over the northern part and see if they can drop some supplies to reinforce the mountain divisions that are pushing north here. In fact, I think I'm going to take the regular infantry divisions back, because I'm just going to send them south, because they're not going to be that effective here, and the mountain divisions themselves are going to consume enough supply as it is. Last thing we're going to do today, and actually there's another operation. Yeah, the operation has been prepared, but it is risky, so I'm going to wait for the plastic explosives research to blow up some Russian factories more reliably. But we can take another national focus. I forgot what it was that we just completed. There were a couple of naval focuses that were kind of interesting to take, but we also had a couple more good things here, like corporatist representation for 10% production efficiency cap would be quite nice. Monetary union, 400 political power. We've got renewed German militarism improvement, 5% organization to all divisions, and we can move towards a national revolution. That would be quite interesting. Alternatively, we can, and there are a couple more interesting things over here. But alternatively, we can improve the naval policies, get ourselves a couple of free dockyards and research bonuses. Let's get the imperial shipyards up and running, because right now having both strike forces, both Schlachtgeschwader ready is still sort of a priority. The war at sea has not yet been won, and potentially we'll have to run invasions along the northern lines if we have to fight. If you had to fight things like the Americans, for example. Talking about the Americans, I have no idea where they are currently engaged. They are at war with pretty much everybody, but I don't actually know where they are engaged. I haven't seen any American troops yet. We are sinking Siamese convoys, British convoys, but no American convoys just yet. But and we are actually we're sinking British convoys in the Indian Ocean as well. So massive losses to the British merchant fleet. They still have a few ships left, but not that many anymore. I do want to finish off the British Navy as much as possible, if we can. The carrier force has been sunk because we are going to have to, on the long run, we're going to have to expand our navy towards the east, where the Japanese are very, very active. All of that to come in future episodes. For now, we are making advances into France, and we are at the cusp of our first major victory and major destruction of French forces with the newly developed tactics of rapid armored movement.